That's my bad. But we're back with more season today. Hello, Ailey. Good to see you. I'm so excited. Right, last time we got a bike tour of the Tiang Valley and met a very cute kid. And now we're gonna go like do some like plot stuff and figure out what the heck these glowy pink crystals are. I think it's gonna be a great time. But also, this is the first stream since we hit 3,000 followers on Twitch. Like that's insane, y'all. That is absolutely ridiculous. And we're super close to 3,000 subscribers over on YouTube as well for just like a VOD repository channel at the moment. That's like super, super cool. And I'm glad there's that much interest. So, let's keep that going. And I think later this week, probably Friday, we'll be live for a short stream to just kind of talk about, you know, the future of the channel. Get some more concrete goals in place, all that sort of stuff, because, you know, it's nice to have those moments of self-reflection, evaluation, and figure out what's going well, what we want to try and do more of. So, definitely, Friday stream is going to be one to tune into if you want to have input on, you know, the sort of short, medium, and long-term objectives of the channel. But yeah, otherwise, I think the other big announcement before we hop into things is that Sunday, I'm going to be hosting an Assassin's Creed 1 Discovery Tour with a bunch of folks to benefit the Assassin's Creed Community Relief Project, which is raising money for Save the Children to assist in relief work in Turkey and Syria. So that's going to be Sunday, a bit later than our normal time of streaming. It's going to be about 4:30 Eastern Time start time. But for getting a whole bunch of folks on to kind of talk about some of the landmarks in Assassin's Creed 1, specifically in Masyaf and Damash, and then getting to, you know, do some good history content for a good cause. So I hope you all join us for that. Anyway, though, I think that's it for announcements before we get in, so hello everyone, welcome to Ludo History. My name's Adam, and as always, we are playing more history games. This time we're returning to Season after a couple of weeks accidentally off, to try and keep exploring the Tiang Valley and find all of these super cool memory plot crystals. The game's been doing some really weird fun stuff with, FMV cutscenes, full motion video cutscenes. So that's something I'm really going to try and hone into, and like try and figure out what's going on with those and how they're using actual archival footage, I think, in their fake archive games. So if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. And if you want to hit that follow button to help support the channel, it is super duper appreciated. We just hit 3,000 followers on Twitch, which is amazing. If you also want to support the channel more, you can head over to patreon.com/LudoHistory, where you can, for as little as $2 a month, help support the channel even more. So, let's get into it. A first time chat from an insecure creator. Glad you could catch a stream. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Hope you enjoy some super chill vibes and come hang out. So yeah, let's get into Season, A Letter to the Future. And hopefully, hopefully everything works. My camera sometimes has bad luck with this game, so we're going to see how that goes. If I need to switch over to my other camera, we can do that, but hopefully it'll be okay. Maybe. Looks like right now we are okay. So, last time we rang this bell, and it caused spooky magic to happen, and then we sketched this place after our great bike tour. Man, it's just so pretty and chill. Also, we have to like manually bike, and manually biking is like my favorite thing, if I can remember my buttons. Hello, buttons. There we go. It's so, like, relaxing to just have to trigger buttons to go biking around. 10 out of 10 experience. Highly recommend. Alright. I think we're going into an area I have not been before. So we may need to keep working our way down to find more of the unexpected and more of the weird pink crystals. But we do have a doggos. What is this monument to? Dogs that run everywhere but home.
They seem to be looking for something.
And a beach share. Oh. And the greyhounds. Greyhounds are our sort of super vaguely paramilitary group. But they're friendly mostly. What's the general vibe of this game? Melancholy, but so pretty. Like, this game is so chill. For being what is objectively probably a super traumatic event, this game is just super chill. So, we are at the turn of an age, and our job is to collect as many memories as we can, and make a scrapbook of them. Like, just make a scrapbook of our memories, and then take these all to the museum at the end of the world, and this will be the record of this age of humanity. And so we just get... This scrapbook is the only thing we can guarantee is the record of the past. And so we're dealing with their war, right? Accumulating records of the war, of the history of this place, and it's going to get flooded at tomorrow morning, and that's it. They got one person for that. Yup. God, I wish that was surprising. That is the most culturally accurate thing you could possibly do, is to say, hey, we have exactly one person to try and record the entire history of the world. Anyone who works in archives or records management is going to complain about that. Oh man, Stefan, your 6-month gift sub has entered month number 6. Ooh. Passersby, I shared my mixed feelings on a certain new organization. These are my potential perspectives. What is your perspective? I left some paint around. Make a mark. Give another view. Heck yes.
I wonder if the graffiti will survive the flood.
It's pretty high up. It might do. Can we make our own marks? Chat, should we make our own marks?
What mark should I leave?
Ooh. Represent uncertainty, represent myself, represent my village. Ooh, chat, these are all good options. Ooh, these are all so good. Represent yourself, uncertainty, village. We have, well, at least chat's being thorough. We do have a pretty good archive of Karo Village already. I mean, there is an uncertainty as to whether the floodwaters are even going to, like, reach this high, or if they do, what happens. Nah. The latency is a bit too much for a poll. It looks like uncertainty has the most responses, so... And that's the one I was going to lean to, anyway. Ooh, interesting. The uncertainty we're representing is just Greyhound's propaganda. Also, by the way, Insecure Creator, in order to document the world, the only things we have are a camera, a Polaroid camera, and an audio recorder that records on cassettes. And that's it. That's everything we've got.
They're bringing the dam down. Eventually?
So, you know, we get to take this and we can record a document and the image that is associated with the document. And our own thoughts about the documents. And then a completely different vibe all the way over here for all the pretty lights. And whatever we sketch. Exactly. And it's so good. It's so quiet as to what's being preserved. But here's the idea, right? I have a master's degree in cultural heritage in addition to my other master's degree in more academic-y stuff. Oh, camera. Camera, don't do this to me. You'll have to give me just a moment. It looks like the camera is not cooperating with the game, so I'm going to have to switch to my other camera very quickly. Give me a moment while I do that, and then we will take a look at what needs to happen. So there's going to be a little bit of jank here while I get the new camera or the other camera active and lined up correctly. So apologies for the jank. Video capture device is going to be this one. Hello. Do you like the terrible lighting on this other camera while it ruins my own, or while it struggles with audio balance? Filters. Now we just gotta trim that down. How's that look? That looks okay. Top about, I don't know, 25? How's that look? That's a little bit bigger. Okay, we need that to be taller. Adamception, no, there's only one of me. What are you talking about? Nothing bad happening here. Don't worry about it. Okay, so that needs to be 0. That may need to be a little bit more narrow to create the effect. There we go. We'll drop that underneath the overlay. Hey, perfect. We've nailed it. Alright, so, we're back. The jank has been solved. And yeah, so I have a degree in cultural heritage, in addition to more pure history academic degrees. So, the idea is that we can actually use archival theory here to better understand what's going on. And I realize I did not open up that document, so let me grab that real quick too. So we've been, like, making a record of what we've been finding, and trying to document what decisions we make. Because that's the most important thing, as a modern archivist, is that you need to be willing and able to, like, let people know what decisions you're making, so that way, as much as possible, they can be reverted if things go wrong, and then, additionally, if things don't go wrong, that we'll still be able to understand, like, why decisions got made. So, let me see here. Where is it? This is gonna be on the wrong page right now, so switch to this one. Come on. There we go. So, if we click over there, we have a document. Oh. There it is. So, we have, collecting materials relating to the changing of seasons and what events occurred in relation to those changes. That's what we agreed on was going to be our collective goal. And so we've collected a bunch of objects here. We've not recorded quite all of them. But I have to do some cleanup on here. But broadly speaking, what we're noting here is that we have a collecting mission, and we're making decisions about what to keep in relation to that mission. So we're going to try and get a bunch of stuff collected, viewed, donated, and then make decisions about what we can and cannot keep with it. Because as it turns out, there's a lot of world over here, and not necessarily a lot of time. This is, I think, actually stream 4 of this game. It's 3 or 4. But yeah. If we look around, though, the main thing I want to try and find today are things related to Harpic, which is an object that we actually have a fair bit of documentation about already. This little purple crystal here, this powerful memory that is something related to memory and to the changing of seasons. So accumulates the most on objects in the soil with strong sentimental value. Childhood toys, wedding rings, photographs, journals. It's also somehow related to the purple flowers that are wildly overgrowing certain areas that have noise associated with them, that are audio recordings of the world. Oh, that's pretty. Wait, holy shit. That's beautiful. And look at the mosaic there. Look at the tile work. Could the game change based on what we decide to collect? I think yes and no. Right. I don't think the raw plot is necessarily going to change that much, but the point of the game is for you to decide what is important and what you want to collect. So I think in that regard, it is absolutely going to change, because different players will absolutely decide different things are important, and will interact with the world in different ways because of that. It's so good. It's quietly so good. Hey look, when I was talking about the purple flowers, we did not begin this war, we did not seek to profit from this war, but we ended it with a prayer for the silence of peace, for sleep.
They believe a prayer put the soldiers to sleep. Is that possible?
Hello? Sodinyat? Isn't that a game? Yes, good catch. The channel name, the idea of Ludo history, right? We'll talk about that more on Friday, but yes, it is literally doing awkward blends of Latin and English, history through a game, or through play, which I think sums up what we try and do here pretty well, because at the moment we're primarily working in video games and the reception of history and culture in games. Oh, interesting.
That last line is kind of disconcerting.
Kind of disconcerting? That's extremely interesting. Ooh. God, there's so much here. Holy... Prismatic troops pushed into Tiang. When the Far West refused to join the prismatic system, no one imagined the scale of the ensuing conflict. But actually, this is a newspaper. You'll never forget so gently. Which makes sense, right? That checks out, because there's the Field of Flowers, which has a god potentially associated with forgetfulness, and like actively forgetting something, through acts of reverence and through prayer, which is a fascinating cultural space to exist in. But it would make sense that that's something that they're like marketing themselves to. Anyway, newspaper, old-timey newspaper announcer voice. Prismatic troops pushed into Tiang. When the Faraways refused to join the Prismatic system, no one imagined the scale of the ensuing conflict. The Prismatic's long retreat has now even reached Tiang, a neutral area. The war will continue until...
The people here weren't ready for a war.
God, it's so good. What are all of these other things? Hang on, let me zoom in. Can I zoom in on these far enough to read them? No, I cannot. Their relationship to memory is wild. There's so much here. The lost. We pray for those lost in the turmoil of the war. Those who never came home, who may be living or may be dead, or may be trapped somewhere in between. We pray for the dead, for those wilted by the acts of man. We pray for the maimed, for the long echo of pain to cease.
I'm looking at a memorial to the lost, the killed, and the maimed. You're so lucky the war never came to Cairo Village.
God. And this war is apparently one of the, like, foundational events of this game world. Because, yeah, it occurred roughly 50 years before present. But completely, like, dominates the memory of the current era. And the Greyhounds appear to be specifically eradicating the memory of everything up to the end of the war, because they find that the current season is haunted.
All this will be washed away.
Right? They find the idea that this current time is too haunted to continue, and so an act of intense destruction serves to sort of herald in a new era where people can finally move past the collective trauma of the war. Visitor parking, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Extra parking along the river.
Trying to imagine this place full of tourists, bustling with fumes, automobiles growling for territory.
It's so good.
What did Goss sit on?
Goss sat on. Chat. Goss sat on. Answer the question. What do you think Goss sat on? Let's see. What else can we look at? Oh yeah, I want to audio record the wind chimes. A car seat?
Music from a trio of performers. The metal, the breeze, and my mind.
Makes me think of a completely different game, Caves of Qud, which has a post-apocalyptic setting. Exactly. That is a game that has been on my backlog for... ever? A very, very long time, and I just have not gotten around to actually playing on it. It's incredible. Everyone I've talked to says it's incredible, and I just... my constant refrain on this channel is the games industry needs to chill. And unfortunately, the games industry just refuses to do that. So I continue to not actually get around to playing up most of the games that are on my backlog.
The scale of the
I
old
spend
world grew beyond human proportion.
when I do have time.
Maybe
Unfortunately, I'm like I want to play a game that's familiar to me.
will never die.
So, like right now, like longtime viewers of the channel will remember that we played through Golden Sun, as like our resident JRPG to deal with a lot of, I guess, the generic material, right? Because there is just a lot of, like, random nonsense in JRPGs, and JRPGs are too long to just play through more JRPGs. So, we played through Golden Sun like 2 years ago, and I've been playing the sequel, Golden Sun Lost Age. Partly to see if there's enough there for me to be able to do the same sort of thing in the medium future. I think there is. I think it would be very funny to look at Ulysses being an anime girl in a kimono that throws fire bolts at people. I think it would be very funny. Oh. It's just that game is big. That game is very big. Well, it's too much to experience all the good games. Exactly. That's to some extent why I rely on people here to suggest games for me. Because there's no way I can keep track of the entire industry and play games that cater to everyone's expertise. Like the Paleo games. There's been Paleo games on the list for over a year now, and I just never have time to, like, go do Paleo games. Even though we have lots of Paleo people. On that note, though,
The war
if you
was
want to
its own
support the
season,
channel...
but the trauma
Alright, we'll let the cutscene play
flowed on
first.
into this season, haunting it.
On that note, though, the best way to help me play the games you want to see is to head over to Patreon. Because at the top tier, which is just $25 a month, you get to select a game for me to play, and it moves to, like, it bumps it up to the very top of the list. Basically, it covers me buying the game. And then we talk about it, and be able to actually make, actually really engage with the history in those games. So, if you want that, do head over to patreon.com/LudoHistory. It helps me out a lot to keep this channel running, and gets you to see the games that you think are most interesting. I still take suggestions regardless, it's just, I can't always guarantee, like, when I get to those games. Because, yeah, the games industry keeps releasing new ones. Like, we're not even going to get a touch Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. Even though that is a high-budget dark fantasy historical game by a developer I really like. In a super interesting historical time period, namely Three Kingdoms. Because I just don't have time to do the research I need for that in March of 2023. So, we just don't have time to go over there. No. Oof. I am sorry, Insecure Creator. I unfortunately do need to, you know, pay my bills. So, ads do stay on. But I was just talking about, like, you know, a game that comes out the day after tomorrow, Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, is a game that we're just not going to have time to play. Oop. Sorry. I am so sorry. I hope you are asleep deep enough that you didn't feel that one. Chat, run away. Run away. No, they can't prove that we did anything. Ow. Trees. Oh no. Heck. There's another memory bit. Memory flowers. Seriously. Hello! Haven't come to a stream a bit because your time zone in Nevada never mentions that, but guess it works fine while you're in Germany. You know, that's fair. Minter Start, is good to see you. Welcome back. But yeah, time zones are hard. I try and fail all the time to make time zones work for as many people as possible.
I've always prayed when I needed something. But now I just
But I'm glad you're here.
the calm you brought over the world. I'm in love with this silence. This moment. We're going to live. And we're going to remember.
I can hear the relief in their voice.
Aww.
This must be after the end of the season of war.
Well, I wanted that one. Shrine Path.
I've always
Another audio recording.
prayed when I needed something.
Interesting. You're gonna hang out because this is chill? This game is so chill. This is a perfect chill stream. That's where I want to go. Look at that big... As we have this little shrine. Who's hitting the... Whomst? I don't know where the bell came from, but look at the doggo up there. One lion doggo. I want to go up here, because when we were on our bike tour, given to us by a 10-year-old, I noticed... Ooh, more paper slips. I once knew all the words to Manchez's music, and I find them slipping away. My voice goes quiet when all others shout with joy. Please let me find those old lyrics, restore them to my tongue. Oh, that calligraphy! Oh, look at that calligraphy. I want to remember everything. I want to remember my whole life before it's too late. I want to write it down. Please, God. I've forgotten the name of a childhood friend who taught me to lace my shoes. Early names, like that, are such tokens, such spells. I would love to speak it aloud again, if only I could remember. Oh boy. So these are prayer slips, donated, as far as I know, like a very Buddhist, like Japanese Buddhist especially, tradition, shows up all the time in games, of the idea of these, like, wish slips, though all of these ones, right, down in the Field of Flowers a couple weeks ago, we found, or last time we streamed this, I guess, we found a god that seems to have prayer slips associated with forgetting. And this one, we have prayer slips associated with remembering. And that's interesting. That's interesting. Because, yeah, there's a lot of theory that we can talk about under here. But at the end of the day, right, I think mostly it speaks to the idea that there's something super complicated about humans' relationship with our own minds. And just accepting the idea that that there is this contradiction and this tension of simultaneously wanting to remember everything and really not wanting to do that. I want that just for the handwriting.
Those slips are prayers to this god for... memories?
Yoink. Yoink. Nice. And now here's the bit that I'm most excited for. We have a tuning fork. And there's that pretty pink crystal right up there.
People prayed here. Who did they pray to?
A great question. Who did they pray to? No? I took the tuning fork. Why is it not letting me use it? Let me use the tuning fork. Oh well. Let's get a picture of the entire guy. Look at him. He's such a friend. He's such a friend. All. Maximally friend-shaped.
This statue feels like it came to someone in a dream. That's just a guess from me.
Found a statue that withstood the test of time. True. Felt like it was built on layers of history and tales. And so there's like a rock or a damaged section somewhere around here that's gonna have more information. Honestly, the picture frame with the bike is neat. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do, is to just include the bike in as many pictures as I can. Because the bike is much more than, like, the, I guess for lack of a better word, our main character's self. I think our main character's bike is the primary, like, symbol, in my mind, of what our own presence in this world, and a way of including the archivist inside the archive. Right? I mean, we are the collector. We are the person recording other information. But we are ourselves a part of the world. And so, being able to sort of multitask with that quiet existence is just something I adore that the game lets us do. I'm not sure what the other... Oh, not the one I wanted to do. Not sure what this other picture is supposed to be. It's a mystery. I really wish I could use the tuning fork on this. Just like climb up there and whack the... bonk the Harpic with the tuning fork. But no, they don't seem to let me. So, that is okay. We will explore around. Whee! God, it's so pretty. I love how, like, super pastel. Maybe I need to finish the flower field first? Maybe? The game hasn't normally set up that structure, but I could definitely see that as a possibility. I'm gonna keep going up the road here, see if there's anything else I can find. I also may need to talk to someone yet to, like, learn about how to use it. There's a bunch of things that could be going on here. I am a little worried about, like, passing time too quickly. Because if the clock hits midnight, we're just out of time. And if we're out of time, well, that's unlucky. Ooh, flower beds. Pretty.
I wonder if this god is supposed to be missing part of their face.
Got... There's like a whole other thing you could talk about with religion here. Because all these monumental statues our main character is interpreting as gods. And on the one hand, that's totally plausible. Like, that to me feels eminently plausible. I also don't know that that's the only interpretation available. Hello. Ooh, little stick of
I
incense.
smell hay, rust, and old warmth.
Certainly, there's a lot of sites of veneration, but the relationship of the monuments to the veneration is left a little bit ambiguous at this point, because, like, the bell in the graveyard was not associated with a god in any substantial way. That I can remember, at least. But, undoubtedly, it is associated with Void.
A symbol and a name. The Void.
Interesting.
These stones must represent the three gods of the valley. Their names seem important. The Void sounds ominous.
Who is the god in the field of flowers? The Void. Alright. I wonder if that means... if we go down here, we can identify who the Void is. Ah, gotcha. So we've got the Void here.
The symbol and the name are different here.
And that one.
The Din. 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 Like an echo from the past.
Ooh. And Tide.
This stone is to worship the tide.
Interesting.
The tide. Something calm that comes and goes.
So we have a symbol. Oh. I need to locate some of these other ones. The god of remembering is... Din. We've got the Din. We've got the Tide. Yeah, that goes there. And then we have another prayer slip, apparently. Alright, so they are taking this fairly straightforwardly as, you know, three gods, each about three aspects of memory, I assume. So the Void being the place of forgetfulness. Din, vocalization, presumably then speech. And the Tide, I'm not sure yet. That's interesting. That they're associating Din with remembering is so fun. I think it's fun, chat, partly because for the most part, people in the contemporary world, right, in modernity, definitely think by means of words, right? Like, the fundamental idea that memory is tied to vocalization and to giving names to things is extremely widespread in modernity. I wonder if I can pray. Yeah, there it is. But what's the most common thing in our journal? Like, yeah, your brain runs on text, mine does too. I've dreamed in fully just text before. And archives themselves are extremely historically biased towards the written word in particular. Because an archive, properly defined, is the collected records created by an institution's governance. So it is the storage of the written records related to the institution or topic the archive is about. Now, there's other types of archives, right, that we've expanded to look at pictorial ephemera, sketches, photographs, spoken words, oral histories, or even weirder things and other things. Well, I've not even put it... I'm just going to put in stuff here for the time being. And then we'll have to revisit this one to record more. We'll have to record more stuff on the farm. Right, so we accomplished a whole bunch of other stuff associated with that. You have images and impressions of spoken word. See, Minted Star, that's super cool. That is super duper cool and illustrates my point exactly. That, right, text, despite being the way that society at large imagines memory, and in fact, a bunch of the big memory theorists all thought of it as, like, communicated. Think about Maurice Halbwachs here and Pierre Nora both understand text. Well, less Nora, but Halbwachs in particular tends to think about text as like something communicated, or memory as something communicated, and monumentalized in narrative. Jan and Aleida Assmann also tend to interpret individual and societal memory in similar ways. Nora complicates this by imagining places as storage sites for memory. And so rather than the word being the thing that calls to the memory, it can be sights, sounds, visuals, scents, other sensory information. And Roland Barthes, the theoretician, semiologist, also really thinks about photographs as memory tools, and uses a term from Latin like the pinprick or the punctus as the thing that triggers memory within a photograph. And so, right, we get this really complex relationship that people have theorized about relating non-textual information and memory. And so this game currently plays it pretty straight. Sort of. Sort of. Let's see if this does what I hope it does. I really hope this does what
It was...
Hang on, chat. I'm realizing that the game window is actually smaller than it should be. Why is it so small? Hello, game window? Why are you tiny? Game window, be big. I didn't even notice that it was shrunk down to be smaller than it should be. There we go.
my first time being in a car as it was being cleaned.
Please.
Moving through a tunnel. Like being in the mouth of a whale.
Interesting. Interesting. That did not do what I was hoping it would do.
The prayer gave me a memory that isn't mine.
That's
But
cool.
it feels like mine now. It seems like it came from the golden season.
Well, that's super cool. Big fan of that. Big fan
I've been
of
given
that.
so many memories here. I hope I'm able to pass them on through this journal.
That's a fun responsibility. That's a fun bit of responsibility. Oh, I'm a big fan of that. You have the Disco Elysium voices. Another great game with an interesting relationship to cognition. But yeah, they, like... that's a fun literalization of what archives are, like, supposed to do. Because, like, if you ask archivists often, like, why they care about something, or why they do that work, it's for the idea of being able to empathize with and understand the condition of other people who aren't us through the records they leave behind. Din just, like, really straightforwardly presented that by just giving us someone else's memory. And our main character understood that correctly as a responsibility they've been given through all of this collected material, and not just through one piece. Right? Not just through the one experienced memory, but through all of these hints of a kind of very collective collective memory, and I guess collected memory.
The earth gave and gave. It did not let up. Not even at the last minute. We collect the fruit of the land we know is dying.
Aw.
Who could forgive us?
Hell, hold up a minute. Eco theory? Wait, weird eco theory, in the world is dying? I'm curious as to where they're getting the idea specifically that this is like the world dying. That's one in particular that strikes me as significant, because the Greyhounds certainly think that the accumulated memory that people have taken and taken and taken is killing the world, and that's part of why you want to bury... Oh, come on. Part of why they want to bury it is because there is a danger and a rot associated with this much history. But to frame that explicitly as sort of the exploitation of a living thing that cannot be forgiven, super weird. Super cool, but super weird. Hey Void. Hey Void, how you doing? Yeah. Right, there's a human sickness that Caro represents, but then this framed it as like an ecological sickness.
Void.
Ding. I wonder what gets taken from us with this. See, this is an in-game one.
I pray to the god of forgetting. I pray to the void to take a memory from me. There was a moment of hesitation between my pendant and the god. Did I really want this? If I did, my pendant would allow it.
Huh. Chat, which one should we do? Well, that's an interesting question. You want to see what happens? You want to see what happens. That's valid. To some extent here, I want to refer back into our documentation here. Right, like, I want to refer back into our documents just to see whether this is actively contradicting something important. So, collecting materials relating to the changing of seasons and what events occurred in relation to those changes. Right, that's our collecting mission. And so, is intentionally throwing something away? Is intentionally throwing for content, throwing away memories for content, in violation of our collecting mission? Oh yeah, gods. Din. Void. Tide. A memory that does not belong to us. Rights issues. Two-way consent? Yeah, it sounds like, right, the problem is less that we're going to give up the pendant, and more like, there's just going to be something, right, we're not throwing away the pendant, it's just the pendant is giving us a chance to back out, before we lose one of our own memories. Jinx? Yep. So, right, we're not, it doesn't sound like we're giving up the pendant. It sounds like we're giving up a memory, and the pendant, which is protecting our memories, is like, if you want to do this, that's chill. But are you sure you want to do this? You don't like that. Well, you know, let's throw for content. I'm of the opinion that we should throw for content. Just because that's going to give me stuff to talk about. This is for science. Because I'm curious to see if and how they let us document the absence of something. Also, we the player. Interesting.
It happened just as my mom described. There was a moment as the memory left. I felt the absence, but then it filled itself in. I'm embarrassed to tell you this, but after that moment in front of the statue, I no longer remember my own name. Boyd took it from me. I tried to remember someone saying my name. I looked through my journal and realized I never wrote it down. So it's really gone.
That's hilarious.
Our minds are so delicate. I held my pendant tightly after that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
What am I without a name? Can I decide now? Did forgetting part of me make me more free?
Okay. Postage stamps. Favorite archival ephemera. Love them. One, oops. Step one, oops. Step two, that's fascinating. Right. There is something real funky about the, losing your own name within an archival context. It's like that thing where there's a place referred to a lot in ancient Egyptian texts, but we don't know where it is because it's such basic information. It was assumed everyone knew where it was. I have a more precise example. That illustrates this exact issue, danger, or something. Chat, do you know what is the most common user of archives in the United States? Do you know who, or do you know what group of people is the most common user of archives in the US? The government? Students? No? The answer is genealogists. Right, genealogists are people doing Ailey got it! There it is! Genealogists are one of the most substantial users of archives in the United States. One of the most important things for genealogists is being able to track named people, right? Like, it's super important to be able to identify names in our understanding. Haley, you spelled it correctly. Genealogy or GIST for the people. But yeah, right? If you're doing that sort of historical research, being able to spot people's names is such a huge deal. Because how else do you identify that two people are or someone described in two sources is the same person? You can make some good guesses. You can make some, like, pretty reasonable guesses based on, contextual information, but to some extent you're completely reliant, on being able to identify people's names to be able to build those lines of descent. And yeah, right, what is it? Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates. Is it on CNN? I feel like it's on CNN. Is pretty great. But yeah, that's so hecky interesting considering current context. You're in Germany for that, but your great so-and-so grandfather changed his name when he came to the US. But for records before then, nothing. It's on PBS. Okay. But yeah, exactly, right? Same thing happened to me in Minted Star, of that there is my great-grandfather, we have very little information about him, because we know he moved from either Norway or Edinburgh, moved to Chicago, and then sometime in the 1930s died in Seattle in a logging company, after lying to the company about not having a wife and 2 kids. And that's about it. That's the majority of what we know about him. Because for the records, right, his name changed, and that makes it difficult. And then on the other side, you have to, like, change the name, on the other side of the family, or actually, no, not the other side of the family, for his wife, you have to actually change her name as well. Because in German, it was Preising, with an S-set. P-R-E-I-S-Z-I-N-G. Guess what the US Immigration Service wrote down? If you guessed not that, you would be correct. So, not that later, doing, like, cross-continental genealogical research is difficult. Turns out, pretty hard. So you have to be super careful when doing that exact research. But that means you're reliant on names. Right? You're super reliant on types of documents that record people's names. And so, when you get to this, right, something like this, oh, that's spooky. Oh, it's so spooky. Oh, I love it.
An instrument with the symbol of the god of memory. I remember my dad had a poor singing voice but wrote funny songs. He had one for taking out the garbage. A kind of a ballad about the virtue of the trash. I wish I remembered more.
But yeah. let's... God, I feel so unsettled by this image. But yeah, to finish up that thought before we get too excited, that makes this scrapbook, right? A scrapbook like this one is super weird, because you have a very clear documentation by a single person, right? A single person clearly makes all of this. There's a coherent voice all the way through. And yet, rather consciously, they are anonymous. They have a face, but they don't have a name. And so everything we see is like names of other people and other places. Actually, we have a lot of like super weird names. Like the Elder is not a name, it's a title. Our Greyhand is not really a name but a title. Right? We get a couple people with actual names. Weirdly, I didn't write down her name. That's funky. It's just she. Right? Yuri and Kochi get names. Kochi... But Kochi's mom doesn't get a name. So, you know... Right? There's a lot of space here where there's like an absence of... There's an absence of the thing a lot of people use archives for in our archive. So yeah, it's a book of in some way a book of anonymity. Right? Pate gets a name. So there's a handful of... And the gods get names. Sort of. God, that's so cool. That's such a cool space to exist in. I mean, I work in medieval documents. A lot of medieval documents have this exact same thing, where the text is what matters, not the person creating it. And so you get glimpses of an authorial voice, but not a lot of one. And that's super cool. So this is a space that's super familiar to me. But a space that is still very, very interesting to exist in. And to have to, like, actively grapple with while creating what is in a lot of ways a very modern contemporary archive. Also, God, this instrument is so cool. Chat, I just want to gush. One impossible arch aside, this whole thing should just, like, crumple over. Man, those strings are so cool. And the idea that they're just stretched so tightly to create that sort of sung, very actively sung space, I love. I'm a huge fan of it. Are those singing bowls? It looked like no. It looked like the music was coming out of the strings. Where the heck? I don't know where I am. Oh, Sophon is way off in somewhere. Yeah, Sophon is the person who we met. Right. So we don't record Sophon's name anywhere except for on this map, but she's there. We met her. It's fine. We got a little smiley face sticker because we talked to her. Then we have Matiora, who we know, and then Easel up top. God, this forest is spooky! Ah, what a vibe. Get cozy, chat, cause, dark, misty forests that are not actually dangerous, but definitely burp. Be very, very quiet, chat. And also put owls in chat. If you have an owl, spam owls right now. Because what a good burb. Pull the focus up as far as we can.
Where will the birds fly to when...
Burbs! Yeah! There they are. Chat, what an incredible burb photo. Like, top tier burb photos right there. I don't have a good... There. I believe I just created a clip of the last 30 seconds, Wolfie. So, if you go check on the clips, if my stream deck is working correctly, there should be a nice clip of a good burb. Memories and music, memories and word, but memories in cell. This game is so cool. This game is asking all of the right questions. Ah, a Minted Star, thank you for the tier 1 sub now. To help celebrate the good burb. Now you have access to burbs of your own. Along with 18 other excellent emotes selected from medieval and historical art. Also, holy shit, I need to take a photo of whatever's happening here. For the owl! Exactly worth it. Oh, whoa. Okay, I just need to continue to gush about this, because the photographic tools are so well thought out here. Look at how different the vibe is between the pastel, the high contrast, and the black and white. Look at how good the different emotional registers these objects can exist in is between the different filters. Like, that high contrast is spooky as shit. Aww. It's so spooky. But the pastel or that warm filter, like, really draws out the glittery, like, fairy lights. And says, no, this is okay. This thing's a bit weird, but it's okay. Meanwhile, like, this is what I call the, 19th century ethnographic photo image filter. Because, oh boy, does that really make this look like an something properly ancient. I think we're going for that warm filter though, and I'm going to futz with the... Let's pull the focus as far forward as we can here.
The faces look trapped in there.
That high contrast was really moving, but I really like that. I really like that warm one too. Boo. The stream deck did not work correctly. Alright, let's see. Screenshot? There, I got a screenshot of this page. Wolfie, I will send it to you after stream. Alright, well, let's take a look at this thing. What this thing super reminds me of, firstly, well, this is not the right game, the right type of game for the bingo card. I will shout out the bingo card, for the Satanism, because you can't put you cannot put a stack of, figures with a goat at the top and not end up referencing Baphomet, right? Just like, on principle, that's not how that works. You'll get big Baphomet energy just kind of by obligation from having a goat's head at the top of the tower. But there's a lot going on here, right? I mean, I'm gonna out myself as just, like, not thinking in the correct mindset at all. Final Fantasy VI? Like, it's the Demon Fiend and Goddess Tower. but somewhat different. This also, I guess you could read this in cultural terms of... Oh gosh. I don't remember the names of the things because this is not my region. But either as some sort of yokai or, like, was it? There's one from, like, Myanmar that is like a mask theatrical tradition that has something very similar to this, I think. Don't super quote me on that. And then above that, you could... Right, if we're looking at, like, very specific cultural references, I would say, like, some sort of theatrical yokai mask. Above that, you could read this, like, as associated with, I don't know, like an Olmec head. And then on top of that is a goat, so Satanism. Additionally, this kind of all creates a reference to, Quackyoodle. It's like Byakko or something. But again, I don't know. This is the other end of the world and a different time period than what I have any meaningful expertise on. But right, inevitably, the fact that you're stacking heads up like this draws attention to, like, Quackyoodle totem poles in the Pacific Northwest. Exactly. The styling is completely different, but the energy is still very similar, and so there's a few different ways you could read this. Is that each of these are something significant to the community that all kind of exist in relation to each other, or that progressing through this tells some sort of narrative that we no longer have. There's a lot of layers of significance that you can assign to a sculpture like this. I mean, look, we could go full Disco Elysium. If we knew a little bit more about it, you could do, like, full Disco Elysium stuff here. Breaking down the significance of the statues. And also the idea that these are, like, a super interesting tradition of statuary. Namely, statuary made out of junk. Right? There's several fairly high-profile artists in our reality that do these sort of trash sculptures. Using the detritus of the industrialized world in order to make art with sacral or folkloric overtones. And the interplay between things that we often imagine as pre-modern and imbuing them with that sort of sacred or pseudo-sacred energy through the creative process and turning them into figuration, or sometimes the explicit rejection of figuration, is super interesting. Like, there's so much art history theory that goes in, you can bring up when talking about this sort of art. And then if you're combining that with religious studies theory, or historical and folkloristics for precedences, there's just a lot happening. There's a lot happening. Let's maybe make the burb small. I love the burb, but the burb is a bit tangential to our practice. This thing goes right at the heart of the passage of our collecting mission. Ooh, fun. That is extremely cool, Stefan. If you want to drop that, if you can remember their name, I want to drop it in the Discord. That would be super duper cool. On that note, by the way, if you are not in the Discord and want to join for those conversations, you can click on that link in chat right now. God, this game continues to rock. Hang on. I should, write notes about this. Wait, what the fuck is this thing's teeth? It has teeth. Why does the goat have teeth? Hold up. Alright. Forest path statue. I suppose I shouldn't really be shocked that a goat has teeth. Huh. You haunt the Discord. Perfect. Quackoodle. I think I spelled that correct. Theater. Traditions. Junk art. As rejection of industrialization / reuse of cultural detritus / I don't know, 5 bajillion things. As a past goat owner, you can say that goats maybe have teeth. True. My cousins are also goat owners, and I can confirm they sure do have teeth. I should not be surprised. I just was not expecting it to have its mouth open in the statue. Folklore. Spur memories that we don't have. There's just a lot happening. Like, there's just questions. I don't have answers on that yet, but now that we have collected this thing, we can explore this. If we find someone who does know more about it, there's a lot we can explore in relation to the words. There's a lot we can explore in relation to the statue and its relationship to prior seasons. Because is it a thing of the current season? Is the thing produced in the golden... in the golden age? Is it a thing produced by leftover materials from the golden season? Does this relate to the war in any way, or the cultural trauma about it? All of the above might be true sentences. Let's get that bike in there. Hold up a minute. Bike. Nope. Perfect. Now we just have to get the perfect photo spot. Just try and land the perfect photo here. Beautiful. How are we doing on time? It's vaguely evening. Luckily, time does not pass... Like, time does not pass linearly. So I don't need... Or, like, there's not a clock ticking.
I hold tight to the feeling of being almost lost. Barely lost. Wandering with conviction. If I could tell Dad...
I like that framing. That's exactly what we are doing.
This feeling to him in detail.
That is 100% what we are doing. We are lost with conviction. Honestly, it is my favorite thing to do on vacation. Like, that's a lot of what this game is provoking in me, right? There's a lot of, like, professional feelings, right? Just by virtue of existing in cultural heritage spaces and always thinking about like trans-historical theory. Like, I have ruined the ability of like everything to enjoy myself. But I have fun doing it, so close enough. But when I am on vacation, like, my 100% favorite thing to do is just walk. Like, not going to see anything in particular necessarily. Sometimes I have a plan, but just like walk around and get just a smidge lost, either in a national park, a great experience, or in a city, especially an old city, and just let yourself be a little bit lost, and it just feels good. So, I highly recommend getting lost with conviction. Hail Hydrate, thank you. I have very nice cinnamon chicory tea, so I'm going to enjoy this immensely. Are you in the States these days? Yeah, I'm out on the East Coast. Which means I have something that almost resembles an old city, but, not according to German standards, that's for sure. Hey look, are we gonna get more junk art? Oh, hang on chat, I have a book recommendation for y'all. Cause this is reminding me of some really interesting things. Where is it sitting? Give me a moment while I locate this book, because this book is fun. It is called The Museum of Whales You Will Never See and Other Excursions to Iceland's Most Unusual Museums. So, you know, someone who used to live in Iceland, one of the places in the credits of this is where I used to work. But, right, A. Kendrick Green just kind of wanders through a bunch of the weird collections in mostly rural Iceland, not so much, like, in the Reykjavik area, but kind of all around the rest of the country, there's a bunch of weird things. And one of them that she talks about here is... let's get to the start of this chapter. The Steinasa Petru. So, the stone collection of Petra. And so, talks about a woman who just collected fun rocks from the Icelandic countryside and made basically a rock garden of good rocks. And the idea of this being this workshop, right, this thing of just someone is collecting and creating for no reason other than they need to do it, and the idea that a collection that people visit comes from that, and that people start visiting and the collection becomes more than one person's enjoyment. Like, super resonant from this. Also, in the Reykjavik area, if you're ever out there, if you walk along the coast, eventually you just run into a garden. Well, I want to get down to it first, to this one first, and see how much of a junk garden it is. But there is an artist who works in, like, junk metal as their medium of choice, who made a big collection near the New Harbor in Reykjavik. And so we'll see how many of the collections there are here. Actually, let's see briefly here while we're looking at this house with its little bits of stuff. If I can locate that. Let's see. I have a Vice article about it. We'll see if this shows up. Your BFF's boyfriend is from Xi'an? True. That's a place that's going to make you feel old. We'll see if it actually loads correctly, but... the images didn't load. Dang it! It's super, super weird. But yeah, it's a person called Hraft Gunnlaugsson, who made it. Don't try and spell that if you don't know Icelandic. Let's see. Let's see if I can locate it here, because it is like ridiculously reminiscent of this scene that you're seeing in game. It's just everything's chugging a little bit, but we found it. Admittedly, this is the most green Reykjavik has ever looked, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. There we go. Like, it's so ludicrously familiar. A very different environmental context, but the creative impulse is exactly the same. As is the resulting collections of stuff. Like, wow, that is a dead ringer, and that's kind of hilarious. Oh good, and they are... this does suggest that...
This instrument is so beat up, but lovingly preserved. It must have played some important tunes.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Oh, what a beautiful violin.
Too bad this is sold out and happened 100 years ago.
What a... what a gorgeous thing. Oh, wow. Like, this is so cool, y'all. And there's so much to, like, make me ask, just, like... So how much of what we've been seeing is specifically religious? How much of it is contemporary? Is that a meaningful distinction?
It's barely legible. 3 aphorisms from the young. None should see the face of love and live. Just one more to complete the set.
Aw, what a beautiful object. Look at how cute it is. Look at this little lion going there at people. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, hello.
He's not for sale.
I know he's not for sale.
Because he's special to me.
No.
Because he is trash.
Everything you've made is trash.
Crazy
Out
woman
of trash.
made this junk. An artist. I buried her a long time ago.
Hmm.
I'm surrounded by it, but my eyes, I can only see here.
Hmm.
Can you bring me photos of my art?
Aw. Well, that suddenly became sad.
I'd like to see my work one more time.
Well,
I
that...
want to see how I wasted my life.
No. No, you made it sad. What do you mean? You did not waste your life. You distracted me for like 20 minutes talking about how freaking cool your art is. You understand that, right? I spent like 20 minutes talking about how cool your statue is in the forest is. Now I would assume that's buried your artist self. Let's do a lap, and I mean I should have some photos. Also, Jesus. Babushka. Oh, can I talk? Like, tie your head up properly. It's gonna get dirty. She just can't appreciate. Uh-huh. Can I, like, show you photos? No? No? Alright, well. Let me go find the art, because I don't have photos of all of it. I didn't take photos of the doggos. Some of the other stuff there. So let me see if I can't grab some of it. And also, wait, was this entire road originally mosaic? Holy moly. I'm just realizing that. I think this entire road was originally mosaics. That is the most extra. I mean, I'm here for it. Big fan. Huge vibe. But Jesus. Yeah. I mean, I was seeing the mosaic fragments the whole time. I just didn't put two and two together that it was just the whole last road. Okay. And what beautiful landscapes. Oh. I mean, I'm certainly... Gotta say, your protagonist's sweater around the shoulders always makes you think of the clothes worn by the actors in, like, French educational videos you watched in class that were all from the 90s. Yeah. I mean, there's a definite vibe to this game as being, like, very much like 1993. Right? Like, in a lot of ways... Please hold. There's no way. "1993 is a very precise time." Am I wrong? I mean, you should probably add a couple of uncertainty bars on there. But am I wrong that, like, early mid-90s? is the overall aesthetic of, like, a significant part of this game. Like, that is the dominant aesthetic of the now, is this sort of alternate, this sort of, like, post-apocalyptic 1993. But the reason why I paused was I had to check. There's a certain end of history energy going on here. Like, let me pose the bike real quick. But like, end of history, oh god, the 90s. But right, like, it's there. So, right, when I think about if I think about the war in this context, even though, right, we typically understand the, let's get closer. How to say this? Even though the design of the uniforms, of the soldiers in the war, like, really strongly suggests this, like, pseudo-Napoleonic. Like, let me... Yes, thank you. Let me find the soldiers here. Yeah, there they are. Right. Like, definitely not modern in any way, shape, or form. Still, that puts me in the idea of this sort of war that we hear about and see the effects of, but is never quite present for the dominant group of people it's part of. To me, says, hey, Cold War, right? Especially with the idea of all of this is late 90s, suggests, Cold War. And so this age is sort of, let's deliberately forget the past. Like, quite deliberately throw away the past, because we think it is poisoning our ability to move forward. Is this specifically post-Soviet idea that's coming as, right, our memory of World War II is starting to fade, and the collective assertion of making sure this never ever happens again starts to fade in the, like, 80s and 90s as commemoration efforts go a bit weird. Not, like, they don't go wrong, but they go weird. And so the idea becomes largely, right, memories of time, I guess, memories of harm done rather than memories of harm committed, and interpreting all of that, like, in a super complex term. And in 1992, as part of this immediate, like, post-Soviet idea, a guy named Francis Fukuyama, who is not a historian and is consistently full of bad takes, suggests that, hey, this is the end of history, right? The Cold War is the last great conflict, and the specific early 90s neoliberal world state is going to persist. Just persist. Exactly. And now that I, like, identify that aesthetic, I can't, it's hard for me to shake it of that, like, this is operating in the exact same moment of uncertainty, and this transitional moment, in how we imagine the past, and specifically in, some ways, very postmodern, and in some ways very neoliberal, where trying to, like, at least one faction here is trying to throw away the past and be like, yeah, no, everything that happened before, none of that is important. None of that is going to influence how we go forward, and we're just going to reject it all. We'll have a new life, and that'll be the way things are forever. We will be better this time. We do not need to be bogged down by the harm that was done. We can just move on. Exactly. As Ailey asks, right, what do I mean when I specify the difference between committed and done? Zoe answers it beautifully. Committed is something active, right? There is someone who commits. And so a memory or a monument to harm committed means acknowledging complicitness in having done the harm. And harm done is abstract. Oh, thing was bad. No one in particular did the thing, but the thing was bad, and we want to acknowledge that the thing was bad. Yeah. I'm praying for a dreamless sleep. I want to wake up new and not carry the arms and limbs of dead memories into the morning. Please let me rest. I hear the electricity in the air. I hear the radio waves. I hear cars moving on a distant highway. Please let me rest. God, all of these are depressing. Holy shit. So yeah, we'll return to those high-level plots in just a moment. Firstly, I have to decide. Please keep the soldiers asleep forever. May this war never resume. I want to dream because I am burdened by my memories. Right, there's a certain trauma of death in these memories. And I want to lose those and move forward. Or just let me rest forever because I'm hearing things that no longer exist. Right? Cars on a highway no longer really exist because the highways are all dead. But man, these are all depressing. I think I want the dreamless sleep. Like, I want to wake up new and not carry the arms and limbs of dead memories into the morning. Because this intersects really interestingly with what the Greyhounds are doing. Of not just praying for it, but actively enacting it and kind of forcing the issue. So I think that's a super cool one.
Prayers to this god for sleep?
Not sleep. I don't think Tide is a god of sleep. I don't think that's a true sense. While all of those are definitely related, I don't think that was the correct answer. Nah, let's put this one on top. There we go. Now, Ray of finding the dreamless sleep? Yeah. Boom. Pray. Tide.
Tide.
And we activate some Heart Pick. And it creates a weird Triforce. And what happens? I'm really hoping for another FMV. I'm really hoping for another FMV here. Nope, it's just a different scene. Oh.
I prayed to see you again. I didn't expect it would be in a dream.
Oh.
Life listens and then it does what it wants. We have to make do, darling.
Aw.
I've been thinking about how much this season needs you, and how the season after that will need you desperately. I wish I could help, but this is a brief dream. What can we say?
It's our mother. Oh no, do we admit that we forgot our name? Alright, Minted Star. Have good sleeps. Good luck on your test. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Chat, do we admit that we forgot our own name? We admit we forgot her name. We may have talked to the god of forgetting. About an hour ago. It was for science. Look, the gods are about to die. Alright.
Oh, you lost your name. It took a while for your dad and I to agree on what to call you.
No, not the trauma.
The name we ended up picking was my idea. If you lost your name,
Oh.
why don't you use the name your dad wanted to call you by? He would have called you Maria.
Aw. Wait. Oh no.
I don't know if you will,
No.
but I know I will see you again. For so long, I'll think it'll never happen. I'll almost make peace with having lost you to the world.
No.
But then all the work of my grief undone in a moment. And I saw you again. Oh, I wept and I laughed. Someday you'll have a child of your own. Someday he'll want to see the village where his mom was born.
Oh.
And I'll be here, waiting for him. We'll stand together, just like this. I have
No.
a million questions for him, and he'll have a million questions for me. But before we can say a word, I'll look into his eyes. And I'll see you looking back at me.
No.
Take care, my darling. It's time to wake up now.
Oh. No.
This god put me to sleep. I got to talk to my mom.
Oh.
Sleep is the shadow life that connects us all. It gives a cycle to our days. A reset, a reflection, remembering and forgetting at the same time.
Interesting. Like, I mean, it's a good name. Oh, it's so interesting. I mean, God, someone was thinking about some, you know, actual neurology there, that's imagining sleep as the storage of, right, a process that helps your brain put short-term memories into long-term storage, and sort of codify those. Right, so someone was thinking about some actual science here, but also a very social thing, that, like, you don't, that sleep offers a chance to begin again, so sleep has, like, a little death, basically, right? Oh, I don't remember who actually calls it that, but, right, the idea of sleep as the little death that then allows you to be reborn. Like, I cannot for the life of me remember who says that, but like, I mean, the same metaphors in Shakespeare, but there's someone else who, like, really calls it that. Don't make the French joke, don't make the French joke. Okay. And Chad is singing Queen, which, you know, always valid. Why is this whole place so pretty? Aw, it's so dark. Lovely.
I think I'll get old fast, so I can stay there for a long time. And when I'm old,
Yeah, okay,
I'll
yes.
light every unlit lantern I see.
Little death has another meaning
I'll
in
even
French.
think of you
That's fair.
sometimes, dear future person.
That is fair. English language versus not English language. But yes, sex jokes aside, it's fine. Everything's fine.
We have Dr. Fumio's cures to negotiate with the exigencies of life as a conscious being. Here they have a religion. The form changes. Our needs remain the
Interesting.
same.
Don't worry about it. Everything is fine. It is allowed to be multiple things. Alright, Ailey, have a good night. What an ending, huh? But man... Why is this game so pretty? Let's just move right along. Why is this game so pretty? Oh, and now we're back up here to the three gods. We go back up here. Are the gates open yet? I assume not. Yeah, it's not even sunset yet. We're getting close, but it's not sunset quite yet. So. I think we should go... You know, we're running out of time. We don't have a lot of time left in the stream. Because I do have some other stuff that I need to get done for later in the week. So I think what we may do is I want to conclude, right, having gone all over the place in today's stream, I would love to go back to the propaganda FMV, and let's try and talk through that a bit more. Right, over in the dig site we saw a reel that is, like, very explicitly Greyhound's propaganda, but also about the 0 day, right, the day of rebirth. But also, it's something that is deeply, deeply, deeply weird, and I want to examine in much more detail. Like, there's just a lot. This one. Chad, if you haven't seen this yet, it's so weird.
We begin in our mother's arms. We open our eyes, but she's not there. We breathe in. Where is she? She is everywhere. And we breathe out. Good morning. Welcome. Congratulations. You have just stepped into a new season. You may feel as if you're seeing the world for the first time. You may have noticed that colors are more vibrant. You may have noticed that food tastes better. What you are feeling right now is how it feels to be liberated from the past. There once was a season that was beautiful, but everyone you met, their eyes were clouded, and their necks were turned backwards. They were weighed down by loss, haunted by the nightmares of another era. Now you may feel as if a great weight has been lifted. In certain cases, you may feel an unexpendable well of energy rising up inside you, because you know there is so much to do. That the world is ours, And it can be anything we want. With your help, we're gonna do it right this time. You won't be alone. There will always be a hand and a voice beside you. There will always be a song to sing.
Mm-hmm. Stefan, that's the question, isn't it? Yeah. Stefan, you're on the right track. Like, I still don't have super coherent thoughts, because this is such a weird thing. Cursed lyric videos. Yup. Yep. Super cursed lyric video. But yeah. Zoe, you're right to be suspicious, because this is presumably what they are. They exported a bunch of Harpic to do, is to create collective amnesia. So they're deliberately doing something manipulative, and our record of their manipulation is going to be the only thing that survives. I love social responsibility. But the video itself is so deeply bizarre. Right? Because in a world of, you know, pastels and relatively low poly graphics, that is actual, at least partially, actual archival footage. Right? Stefan, you're noticing that the shot of canoeing you think is Lake Louise looks like really familiar. Some of that is, I'm like 100% confident, is historical archival footage that they have licensed from an actual archive. I don't know which one, but I'm pretty sure that they did. And some of it was run in reverse, right? Some of it they ran backwards. So you had the waterfall going up. Some of it may have been like self-recorded home video that then is artificially aged, but some of it's definitely historical footage. And that creates like a super weird relationship, right? Between the thing we're creating, the narrative of the game, the actual archival profession in the outside world, and sort of the creative purposes it can be used to. Like, it's super complex, because right, in a lot of ways this is using historical archival footage that may not record happy things. Like, it's hard to tell. Without more detail, like, actually looks like an old marketing video you saw for Kananaskis when you were younger. Gotcha. Yeah, it's entirely possible. But, right, all that is coming either out of a national archive in Canada or corporate archives if they're using old marketing footage. But, right, how to stitch this together? Without knowing more details about what footage they're using, it's hard to really identify the exact social context. But they are stitching it together for a creative purpose in a way that, with the narration, turns footage that may indirectly record injustice to this, like, ultra-positive goal of, like, bright and vibrant futures. Probably from Parks Canada. Some of it is, right? But, like, not all of it is. Like, the couple walking down the street on the black and white footage looked like probably from, like, the late 50s. Uh, and so, right, in terms of the archival relationship here, this is far and away the weirdest thing in the game. And I still don't really... I really want to talk to someone on the dev team about just this a lot more to understand, like, why they chose archival footage when a lot of the other major cutscenes are rendered, right? They're either a generic footage that could come from almost anything, or are rendered in-engine. Like, why is this one using real-world, like, pre-existing footage that's being stitched together in a new way? I still don't have an answer to that, but I think that's like a super key moment when we're thinking about archives as records and the uses to which archival material might get put. Right? Like, as we imagine the uses of the record we're creating, as we imagine all of this material as a record that's being created, you have to understand that archives are for the future, right? They're created for people to use. And we preserve records because we think someone is going to use them. And yet, then we get, in-universe, someone using footage of the past to create an argument and a propaganda video for the destruction of the past and the creation of a forced amnesia. So, footage created and that is then used to invalidate itself? Like, is metatextually super interesting, and of course asks, you know, is that a valid use of archival footage? On a perfectly metatextual example of just using archival footage as a creative thing to create a cutscene in a video game, 100% valid. Like, 100% valid. Within the world of the game? Or if we assert that was all occurring in the same world? Would be super complex, and I don't know... I don't know that it would be valid. I also don't 100% know that we get the right to make that choice. Like, I don't know that we're allowed to make the choice to say that that is or is not valid. Could be, could also not be. I don't know. No. And Chad is going on a ramble about music, which is completely fine. Makes sense. The music is also very weird and creepy. But man, nothing makes me distrust the Grey Hands more than looking at what they're doing with real-world archival footage. Like, holy moly, that does... In terms of a narrative goal of making us distrust the Grey Hands and their motivations, like, holy moly is using that successful. And so... Because, yeah, I fully don't trust them if that is... If that is their relationship to the past and to the footage gathered from the past, I super don't trust them. Why would I? There's no reason to. This whole thing is much too spooky to be otherwise.
I can't imagine fishing and actually catching a fish.
Aww.
Too scary.
Aww. Hang on. Wait, that's me, but, only because I'm bad. I can't imagine going fishing and catching a fish because I suck at fishing. It took me a year to catch one fish once. Going fishing, like, every month. I'm just saying. I'm really bad at fishing. Alright. Well, I think though, isn't most of fishing just sitting still? You would think that a hobby whose main act is just sit there and wait for the fish to do their thing would not be so difficult, or a thing you can be actively bad at. But here we are. Now, fly fishing would be different, or deep sea angling, or, you know, things that are actually complex. But no, just me out there with a line, a bobber, and a worm. And, took about, yeah, probably 10 fishing trips to catch one fish. Yep. Yep. So I can't imagine, if you taught me to fish, I'd starve to death. Fake quote that's often attributed to Lao Tzu, but it is, I don't think, actually by him. Actually, I'm like 80% sure it's not by him. Teach me to fish and I'll starve to death. Oh well. I think on this note, though, on that delightful anecdote, I will have to call this stream here. The goal next time, I think, is to take photos of all the doggos and then take them to the old lady, the old babushka artist, and then go from there. See if we can't meet the monk. I think it's going to be a great time. But yes, God, I love this game so much. Oh, ignore that. That was fine. Everything was fine. Please hold. Everything's fine. We promise. Perfect. Nope. Never mind. Things are not fine. My connection failed because my thing turned off. Please hold one more time, while I get the other camera reset back up for the closing. Come on. There we go. Voila. I'm so good at this. Y'all, I'm so good at this streamer thing. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. This was a delight. I am loving this game, and I'm glad a lot of people tuned in. To everyone who sat around, lurked, joined us, I hope you all had a great time. So, once again, if you did enjoy this though, do hit that follow button, to let, if your first time joining in, to let me know that you want to see more of this, and to be notified for all the variety of fun history rambling that comes down this channel. We'll be back, as I said, Friday, earlier in the day, around about noon, for just like a nice short, getting to just talk to y'all, talk about the future of the channel, get to see like what stuff is coming down the pipeline, and try and set some goals for like short, medium, and long term. So really try and lay some stuff out to get us on the right page going forward. Otherwise, yeah, also make sure you're back on Sunday for the charity stream that we're doing as part of the Assassin's Creed Community Relief Project. Details on that will be coming soon, but that's going to be Sunday about 4:30 Eastern Time, where we'll be doing a discovery tour of Assassin's Creed 1 with a bunch of other folks from the AC community to try and raise money for Save the Children. So I hope you are all going to tune in for that, consider helping support that cause. Otherwise, that's it for announcements, so I hope you're all enjoying this game and the rambles as much as I am. And until next time I see you, whenever that is, I hope you all have a very good rest of your nights, alright? Bye!